a little bit different. You take a bet, a limit play, even if the limit is 2 dimes on the side, you don't go from 11.5 to 12. You know what I mean? You got to go. Got to go. Because if they bet you the second number, then you go, oh boy, now we have a decision that we really didn't think we got a big decision. Books love decisions.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Like cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome to hour number 3, our third and final, here on this Wednesday, live on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. One final hour to go. Plenty of baseball breakdowns coming your way from Donnie Rightside's mind. We'll hear from our MLB insider, Craig Mish, up next. And Anthony DeBundo from The Ringer will join us later on in this third and final hour to preview a huge semifinal Wednesday on the pitch. Second semifinal at the Euros and at Copa America. Looking back on the semifinal action that we saw yesterday, Spain advances past France, Argentina the same, past Canada in Copa America. A lot to get to here, DRS, with one more hour still to go.
Yes, we need to pick out some winners today in soccer because they take center stage once again. Nice little doubleheader in the Copa and also over in the Euros. We'll have some fun with that. And also a really good Major League Baseball schedule and a packed Major League Baseball schedule and a couple of environments that we're going to talk about, particularly where we just went over in Baltimore. Wind is whipping and hot weather. So maybe we'll get some of those home run balls to leave the yard today.
And we are going to have some fun here by hearing from the people. Next week, July 15th, early access to buy EA Sports College Football 25. The full release date is a week from Friday, July 19th. It has been 10 very, very long years, 11 even, very, very long years since we last had a college football video game from EA Sports. You will feel like a kid again next week. Are you excited? That's what we wanted to know in our Fade the Public poll. So let's hear from the people now in Fade the Public. Okay, yeah, take it. That's all good. Wasn't sure if we had the stinger animation up in time. I'm glad it was running. Good job back there. All right, is college football 25 the most excited you've been for a video game? Yes, no, who cares? Those were the options on our FTP poll. Plenty more responses in terms of the Paul George conversation yesterday. That's what we love to see out of the public. 51% of the public saying yes, it is the most excited we have been for a video game. What say you, DRS? You faded the public?
Yeah, I'm fading the public. It's an absolute no for me. And not because I'm a hater. I just don't play video games anymore. I'm not getting excited by this. But back in the day, as I like to say, in the early 2000s, late 90s, going to GameStop at 12:01 midnight to try to pick up a latest edition of Madden and or college football, that was always in the repertoire. And also, correct me if I'm wrong now, like, are we going to stores anymore? Like, are we just downloading stuff at midnight here, cheating the process here? You got to go to this. You got to go to the store and get the physical copy here. Where do we cop out at this point now? Nonsense.
I hear that. Old man yells at cloud. I do get that, but you just download the game. You just purchase the game, and it goes right to your gaming system, making things more feasible and accessible, I would say. Now, I don't have a gaming system. I don't have a PS5. I don't have an Xbox any longer. My neighbor does, though. One of my good friends and former roommate lives right across the street. I'm going to go over and play next week. I cannot wait. To start my dynasty and bring, I don't know, insert X Max school, probably Kent State, probably take the Golden Flashes to a college football playoff and start a dynasty in Kent, Ohio. If you had to play with a team, Donnie, if you did find your way around a gaming system and they had EA Sports CFB 25, which school would you bring to glory in college football?
It would easily be Miami. Of course it would be. But, like, if we're just going around like random institutions trying to build that pipeline up, it might be a team like Air Force. Just have some fun with them. You know what I mean? Just go out there with the triple option and start banging around. I would actually like to enjoy that here. And again, as I say, back in the day with NCAA Game Breaker, with the Tommy Frazier, Nebraska squads, used to run absolutely wild and you couldn't stop them out there in the field. Those were the days that I used to look forward to back in the day. That was even before, like, we were playing on the internet at that point. But I understand why people get excited for this. And again, if I was 25 years younger, yes, I would be excited because I would be looking forward to it coming out once again. We bought these games. It was 1A and 1B every summer. You bought college football, you bought Madden. It was just the way it was.
Yeah. And it was one of the greatest things back in the day in Road to Glory when you could have your player transfer over to Madden from his college football career into his National Football League career. By the way, do you know where Tommy Frazier lives?
No, I don't. Was Tommy Frazier from like Bradenton, Florida back in the day? I don't remember. Where was he? Where did he grow up?
Yes, he is from Florida, but do you know where he lives now for the most part?
No, I don't.
You don't? Omaha, Nebraska. How about that?
No wonder
Tommy
we don't know
Frazier
where he lives, because obviously nobody knows anybody lives out there. Exactly. That makes perfect sense. Nobody knows where he lives.
Right.
Absolutely nobody.
Recognizes good things when he sees them. Nebraska nice, the good life. Tommy Frazier.
Is he, by the way, let me ask you a quick question about Tommy Frazier. Is he legendary, around those parts still in Nebraska at this point? And by the way, did his leg heal up from the blood clot? I just want to know that. Hopefully he's feeling well these days.
I don't know the answer to the second question. Still very legendary, that being Tommy Frazier. Yeah, out there on the plains. Big time legend in Nebraska Cornhusker football. And when you think about Nebraska in the mid-'90s, that's what you remember. The Tommy Frazier run against Florida, Scott Frost leading the Cornhuskers to their last national championship back in 1997. Is this the year
2001
for Nebraska to even see what?
We always remember Nebraska's Rose Bowl appearance in 2001. That's the one that everybody remembers, to be honest.
We don't talk about that game. We don't talk about that day in Nebraska
quarterback.
History.
Yeah.
Oh, ugly scene. But see, this is what EA Sports College Football 25 spurns in us. It awakens the nostalgic memories that is college football, the tradition, the history, the pageantry, and we get that on full display. DRS, we've got some peeks at gameplay features for the updated EA Sports game that we have in CFB 25. Seems like running the football is going to be incredible. So you wanted to build up Air Force into a dynasty? That triple option is going to pop off the screen, my man. It is going to be absolutely incredible there in Fort Collins. They're going to run like crazy with the Air Force Falcons. Love the look.
No, that is pretty good, though, because the one thing that we used to like in the differentiating parts of Madden and college was the triple option that you could institute in college football. It was so much fun to run where you just would take a game and say, I'm not going to throw a pass here and just load up in the running game. Those are the good times out there. And I imagine the graphics are going to be pretty good for this year's game. Now, what's the anticipation level? Because I know for a while, like, people were getting angry that they were just releasing clips, but not actual gameplay itself. I want to see what the ratings come out and how people are happy, because typically every year people buy Madden and within the first 5 minutes, they hate Madden, but yet they will still play it for the next 6 months, even though they continue to say every day the game is terrible.
One of the big wants from the public in terms of getting ready for college football 25 was hopefully not just a reskin of Madden to have it be another year, but just the return of the nostalgia of the game. It does not look as such in all the previews that have been shared through social media. It feels like a significant and substantial game. And based on those previews, there have been some gameplay action that has been released this week. People are incredibly happy in the early returns. That would be what I would say. How great would it be, Donnie, if we got the SportsGrid gang together? You, me, Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh, everybody behind the scenes, some of the other great hosts that live in the tri-state area, and we had like a full-blown middle school, high school night. We're talking bags of chips, Mountain Dew, Code Red, getting fired up. We're staying up past Donnie Right-Side's bedtime. Maybe even he hits midnight and sees a new day, and we're just playing EA Sports CFB all night long.
Or we just do this. We have a nice evergreen planned day across the SportsGrid network for 24 hours. Bring all the boys up to Bellworks here, and we get paid to actually sit back, eat, and play video games. Be a wonderful day. One of those things where, you have those retreats that some companies have. That'll be a one-day retreat up there in beautiful Bellworks, and we can all have fun.
We'll time it up with when Donnie Right-Side can break his fast, so he has a large meal around 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Think about the numbers. Think about the numbers that stream, that viewership on our live YouTube page would do if we were all just playing EA Sports CFB 25 for a couple of hours. Big numbers. And we'll bring it up with management. Craig Mish might even make the journey up from Florida. We'll talk to Craig next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. But that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Mish joins us live right here to touch them all on this Wednesday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. The host of Newswire at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, our Major League Baseball insider as well. Craig, we thank you for your time here to look forward to a very full slate of Major League Baseball games on this Wednesday.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Winding down on the first half, just several days to go. And can't wait to get started on some of the games today. And, certainly a lot of analysis goes into that. And really, always, I think for the baseball season, good time to take a break. Always say that on Sunday.
Just a couple of days until Craig Mish will board the PJ, make his way to Arlington, Texas for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game in all of those festivities. Before we do that, on this Wednesday, we go from first all the way to home. It's time for the Daily Basis.
Craig! That was a great one.
That was good.
Not overmodulated at all.
Me.
Nice and smooth.
That wasn't me. And that was good because the last time Craig was here on Monday, I said I was done. So I was not expecting that and was getting ready for my question. Well done to our production team behind the scenes. All right, Craig, our first base that we are going to touch today, that is the marquee matchup this week in Philadelphia between the two top teams in the National League, the Phils and the Dodgers. And game number one was all Philly. 10-1 the victory over L.A. Zach Wheeler good despite leaving the game early with back stiffness. Trey Turner, former Dodger, grand slam in the fourth. A couple of more long bombs for Philadelphia. They win 10-1. It's a long season. This game might not have any impact on our postseason standings by the time we reach October. But just how significant is the blowout victory yesterday for the Phillies?
It's a regular season game, Ben, so I'm not going to get too crazy over something like this. I think the only thing that sort of hits home here, now as far as the injuries are concerned, Wheeler is definitely one to watch. I guess the good news for him is the All-Star break is coming. The bad news is they're going to have to replace him in the All-Star game, Glasnow in the All-Star game. Like, this is going to be crazy. I don't even know who's going to be in this game by the time Tuesday comes. As far as the Dodgers are concerned, we can start there. I think that there probably are some Dodgers fans who are out there a little concerned because their pitching staff just doesn't resemble anything from what they thought it would be at the beginning of the year. And I think that's probably fair with Yamamoto being hurt. Kershaw is not back yet. Buehler was not himself. Glasnow on the injured list. And then last night we saw Bobby Miller, who we went into the season thinking was going to be this young superstar. He has not looked like it at all. So that's the bad news. The good news, Ben, is that I don't think it matters. The Dodgers are just going to get whoever they want at the trade deadline. This is a team with just endless amounts of money and resources and a great farm system. And so I believe that they will get this fixed before the end of the year. I don't think Philly, if they play LA, is going to beat up on LA in every game in the postseason, the NLCS. So one game, I don't get concerned with it.
Yeah, good shot in the arm yesterday, too. Maybe Bryce Harper coming back a little bit earlier than anticipated. Didn't really perform all that well in the game itself, but Kyle Schwarber, a couple RBI in the way the Phillies went. We're not worried about the Dodgers and the Phillies here. And probably we should be worried about the New York Yankees, but just a few short weeks ago, maybe the best team in baseball, at least record-wise. Now they find themselves in second place in the AL East, 3 games behind the Baltimore Orioles. They lose yesterday 5-3. Carlos Rodon gets blown up in the first inning, giving up 4 runs. Are we panicking a little bit here with the New York Yankees, Craig? And what do we see in the short-term future for them of how they can get back on the right track?
I understand that Yankees fans are upset. Everybody wants Boone fired again. Like, we go through this every single year, it feels like. And then when you look at the standings, if you didn't know any better, you would think the Yankees are, 4 or 5 games over 500, teetering on the verge of the postseason. Guys, are 17 games over 500. If they finish 17 games over and just play 500 ball the rest of the season, they're going to make the postseason. Now, as I talked about at the beginning of the year, I thought they were supremely overrated, and now they're playing back to what their probably mean is my guess. But I think that things will normalize. It's a long year. It's probably a bad month for them. In the end, They're a team that's probably 5-6 games over 500. They're playing above that. They probably will get close to their season win total at this point, maybe even past it. So it's really no time to panic, but you just have to kind of be realistic. The Yankees are more of a flawed team than some of the other teams in Major League Baseball. I mean, the Orioles are a better team than the Yankees. I mean, this is just what it is. And so are the Dodgers, and so are the Phillies, and several other teams as well. Cleveland's probably better than the Yankees too. So I do think they'll get to the postseason, but this is just not a surprise. In the end, your record comes back to what you usually thought they would be.
Still 55-38, but the Yanks have lost 16 of their last 21. Is it panic time, though, at the Trop? The Yankees an underdog today. Brian Cashman, the GM, making the trip to Tropicana Field to visit his Yankees, but he did not meet with the team. Hal Steinbrenner there, too. That seems like some anxious times up in the Bronx. We have our fifth home run derby contestant, our sixth, Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians, tied for the fourth most home runs this year, 23 long balls, second in RBIs, only behind Aaron Judge. 6 of the 8, Craig. Are your sources telling you anything about who the final 2 are going to be?
I don't know, but I mean, I hope Jose Ramirez bats lefty. Guys, I'm in right field for this event, like getting tickets in left field for like media is fine, but I'm not catching home runs as media, but I'm going with my son with this. And we're sitting in right field, can't sit in left. It's too much money. It's like $700, $1,000, and the ticket fees are insane. But right field was pretty reasonable. And I guess maybe people knew ahead of time if Jose Ramirez bats lefty in this, and I'm not sure that he will, then there'll be 2 lefty hitters. So I would have to imagine, guys, I don't know if it's Naylor on Cleveland. I'm just not sure. But you got to get another lefty in the home run derby. I don't think that you could have 8 out of 9 batters batting right-handed in home run derby. So look for that to happen. I don't know the name, but I would think a left-handed hitter, either Naylor or maybe Santander joins.
So, Craig, quick question before we get to the Baltimore Orioles and Chicago Cubs game here. Quick follow-up. Are you bringing a glove to Arlington?
Always, man. Always. Caught a home run 2 years ago. I'm going to try again.
That guy knows what he's doing.
Fight
that
with
guy
Zach
is a
Campbell.
man about his business.
Go ahead.
Quickly here, Craig. The Cubbies win yesterday 9-2 in Camden. 30 seconds left. Will Baltimore bounce back today with Corbin Burns on the bump?
Yeah, the heavy favorite today. It's either -1.5 or don't play it, would be my opinion. Cubs, I can't figure them out. Sometimes they play well, sometimes not. Not a recipe for success today. So I would either take the Orioles or pass.
O's second best run line record in the bigs, 51-40. Craig Mish, thank you as always. Maybe we'll play some video games next week. More on the early line up next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet #1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going #1. Well, hot damn. Who's the big minus money favorite to go #1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. But that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The game that Craig Mish just previewed for you is where we start our baseball breakdowns on this Wednesday. Donnie right side is locked and loaded and ready to go. We've got a fully robust slate, a couple of rainouts yesterday, a few doubleheaders on the card for this Wednesday slate, but we start in Baltimore, the O's and the Cubs. Yesterday, Chicago, a hefty underdog. They win outright in a big way, 9-2 in Camden to start off this midweek set. The Cubbies have won 4 of their last 5. Could it be 5 of their last 6 with Shota Imanaga on the bump? Well, if it wasn't Corbin Burns, perhaps on the other side. The Orioles, a minus 174 home money line favorite to bounce back today in Baltimore.
They probably should be that high of a favorite as well. And also, as I told you, weather conditions perfect for hitting at Camden Yards today. 90 degrees at first pitch. How about this? 15-mile-an-hour sustained winds blowing out to left field. We might get some action. And also, if you're looking at Shota Imanaga, who maybe a couple weeks ago, we might be saying this might be one of the best pitching matchups you're going to see in Major League Baseball because Imanaga was phenomenal. He hasn't been phenomenal. Take a look at his last 30 days. Last 97 batters he's faced here, Ben. A 231 ISO combined and a 360 weighted on base percentage. Both lefty and righty hitters are getting the best of them here. Strikeout percentages still decent to lefties at 26%, but has dipped below 20% over the past 20 days, past 30 days against right-handed batters. If we're taking a look at that lineup today for the Orioles, they've hit left-handed pitching quite well over the past 30 days. The question is going to be that lineup, who I don't really like all that much from the Chicago Cubs, really came to play yesterday. Can they do the same thing today? We're probably going to be betting against it, and you see the pricing according. If we're looking at the last 60 days, Corbin Burns' ERA, 1.94. XFIP minus number, 85. He's the better pitcher. The better team is the Baltimore Orioles. They should win today. I'm just interested to see what that total is going to wind up being because these are optimum hitting conditions in a true hitter's ballpark.
Yesterday at the Trop, the Yanks were a slight road moneyline favorite against the Rays. Still lost. They have lost 16 of their last 21. Today with Marcus Stroman on the bump, New York is the road underdog in Tampa against the Rays. Zach Eflin gets the start on the other side. The total is 8. What's the play down in Tampa?
Look, I just can't trust Marcus Stroman here. And forget about, even non-analytical numbers, right? ISO power number 180, which is right around average. 339 weighted on base percentage against him, which is right around average. He's been great against left-handed batters, struggling against righties. But if we're lining up pitchers today, 31 pitchers on the card over the past 60 days with at least 20 innings pitched. He's 30th. Marcus Stroman is 30th on the card. How about his XFIP minus number here, coming in at a 126? His ERA actually isn't that bad at 3.41, but his XFIP number himself is a 5.15. You can't trust that right now. And until the Yankees really bring those bats to the table today, I don't know how far we can trust them. We're not saying that Zach Eflin is the second coming and a greatest pitcher down there, but he's been a decent pitcher for Tampa Bay. It just comes down to trustability right now. The past 2 weeks have been a disaster for the Yankees, and how do you trust Stroman? Fresh off a game where you couldn't trust Carlos Rodon, and he got hammered in that first inning here. Probably going to give me the Tampa Bay Rays again just because they're not playing great baseball, that 1-9, and also I don't trust Marcus Stroman.
Total at 8. Tampa won yesterday 5-3. The Giants won in walk-off fashion because the Blue Jays bullpen blew it a wild pitch. Tyler Fitzgerald scores that walk-off run. Blake Snell was back yesterday for the first time in more than a month. The true ace in San Francisco, Logan Webb, gets the start today against Toronto. The Giants aptly booked as a $1.50 favorite at home. What do you like?
Yeah, runs might be tough to come by. And again, same sort of weather conditions you're going to get at night in San Francisco, Ben. Mid-60 temperatures here, wind blowing out to center field. If we look at the offense here, Springer, Horowitz, and Guerrero on for Toronto, they have elevated ISO power number and weighted on base percentages over the past 30 days against right-handed pitchers. The rest of that lineup has been absolutely abysmal. And Logan Webb, as good of numbers as you are going to find on the season. If you take a look, 485 batters he's faced, an 0.86 ISO, and a weighted on base percentage of 284. If we take a look at even some more analytical numbers, I have number 3 on my card today for pitchers, a 75 XFIP minus, a 2.84 ERA, and an XFIP number of a 3 even over the past 60 days. The better pitchers on the mound for the San Francisco Giants. That's why I'm seeing that total to 7. They should win this game. Logan Webb has been phenomenal, and I expect him to be great once again tonight.
4-3 the victory for the Giants yesterday. When you look at the Blue Jays, just to point this out here as we near the All-Star break, and then at the end of the month, it is the trade deadline. Toronto never living up to that optimism up in the sixth. They're now 9 games below 500, 41-50 in the basement of the American League East. There has been some chatter. Are they going to be sellers ahead of the deadline? Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, George Springer. We shall see, but it has not been a good year in Toronto. To the pitch we go. Semifinal Wednesday of the Euros and Copa America next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn. Who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Semifinal Tuesday leads to semifinal Wednesday at the Euros and Copa America for the last 2 spots in each of the finals of these 2 international tournaments. The Ringer's Anthony DeBundo joins us live right here on this Wednesday to preview both matches today. Is it coming home between the English and the Dutch, England and the Netherlands, in the first semifinal on this Wednesday afternoon? The nightcap, Uruguay and Colombia for the last spot in the Copa America title tilt against Argentina. And a recap of yesterday as well. Anthony, as always, we appreciate the time. Thank you for being here on this Wednesday.
Yeah, the Dutch fans have already taken over Dortmund. They are ready to go, dancing in the streets, and we've got a few hours to go until the kickoff, so I'm getting excited.
Bad day to be a Kolsch over there in Dortmund, that is for sure. Anthony, let's look back on yesterday in Munich. After a tournament that has really been plagued by a bunch of PKs and not a ton of open offense, we saw a ton in the first 25 minutes between Spain and France. The French scoring in the 8th minute. Lamine Yamal, the 16-year-old for Spain, scoring in the 21st. A wonder goal, and Dani Olmo in the 25th minute. The game winner for the Spanish. They hold on in the second half. Kylian Mbappe had some chances, but Spain victorious 2-1 to advance to the Euro final. What was the key to the Spanish success yesterday in Munich?
They've been very they were not very effective at holding out Germany when they played with the lead in the last match. They went up 1-0 on Germany and they kind of sat back a little bit and didn't keep enough of the ball, and they conceded a ton of chances, and ultimately Germany caught them late. And really, I thought Germany was going to go on and win that match in the quarterfinal. It was very different yesterday because Spain, once they did go up 2-1, pretty much stopped attacking. They took only a couple shots after that point. But unlike the Germany match, France was not really able to play their way back into it. They never really had a period of sustained dominance. And France, for all of the talent that they have, it's been an ongoing problem for them at the entire tournament, not able to create quality shots. They created a lot of total shots, but most of them low quality, low XG chances. And we never had to see France play from behind. In the past, France very good at kind of turning the dial and turning the mode into attack and creating lots of chances. This was the first time they fell behind at this tournament, and they were not at all effective at playing from behind. So really, I think it's a failure on Deschamps and a credit to Spain that they have, the control and the ability to dominate midfield like they did. Really could have scored first too. Fabian Ruiz missed that sitter. They really took apart a French defense in the first half that had been very good entering the tournament.
Some finals we take a look at and we are surprised by. We weren't surprised yesterday in the Copa. Argentina 2-0 over Canada. He had 2 goals yesterday for Argentina. Alvarez in the 22nd minute and the first goal of the tournament for Lionel Messi in the 51st minute with that 2-0 victory. It was about what we expected out of Argentina, but also from your end of it, Anthony. What did you anticipate for Argentina coming into this tournament and how they've looked so far advancing once again?
Yeah, I actually think Argentina, they met expectations. Anytime you get a bracket like they did where the 4 of the 5 best teams in the field besides Argentina are on the other half, Colombia, Brazil, Uruguay, even the United States, if you want to throw them in there pre-tournament, all on the other side of the field. It was always going to be the minimum requirement for Argentina was going to be to make the final. And if you evaluate how they performed across those 5 matches, I would say they've somewhat met expectations. I don't think Argentina's really blown anybody away. They've only conceded 1 goal, and it came in stoppage time against Ecuador. But, they were kind of outplayed by Ecuador, and even Canada yesterday was pretty competitive in that first half. Like, they have not kind of wiped away the competition the way you would expect them to. So I think some of that comes down to the fact that Messi has not been 100% fit. He did miss the Peru match. He wasn't 100% against Ecuador. He looked a little better last night, but still not, the Messi we're used to seeing. Some of that could just be aging too. But Messi's not been quite at his sharpest. I think they're live to get picked off in this final. I think it's going to be closer than the market suggests. They're going to be minus 170, 180 in the final to win it. I'm not sure that they should be that high given the form we've seen from the other 2 semifinalists.
Leo Messi scoring his first goal of the Copa America tournament last night early in the second half against the Canadians, deflecting a shot in front of the net that then tickled the twine. Minus 135, the price on the Argentines entering yesterday's semifinal to win Copa America outright. Now minus 165 as they await the winner of tonight's match between Colombia and Uruguay, as we will break down in just a minute. But Anthony, we start semifinal Wednesday with the matchup in Dortmund, the English and the Dutch. Here are the odds just to advance to the final, not the 90-minute match bet or any of the plays that you might have for this match today. But England now minus 130, a little bit of movement back to the Netherlands, plus 106. Anthony, I ask you this straight up, and then we can get into any plays you like for the actual match. Will England make the final to take on Spain this weekend?
So the Dutch 20-1 were my pre-tournament pick. I'm sticking by them. I like the way they've played throughout this tournament. I don't think they've been at their best, but I think it's very hard to say England has either. When you look at England's 2, knockout matches, they create almost next to nothing for an hour. They score a late goal on an excellent finish from Bellingham against Slovakia, from Saka. They create a little moment where you're like, that looks like that could be the good England. And then they go kind of back to just mediocre England. And we have not seen them put together a full 90 minutes of quality play at this tournament. The Dutch, they played France in their second match of the group stage, and I think that's kind of instructive to how this one might look. I do not expect the fireworks from yesterday to happen in this one, but I do think the Dutch are about a coin flip to advance here.
Taking a look here and flip it over to the Copas once again as we have a nice doubleheader of soccer once again on the schedule. Uruguay versus Colombia, minus 118 Uruguay, Colombia, minus 104. Who is going to advance here to take on Argentina, Anthony, in your mind?
I actually think Colombia is in better form. And I know Uruguay took out Brazil and won that match and kind of controlled their match against the United States. But Colombia, if you compare performances, just common opponent. They both played Brazil in their last match. Colombia took it to Brazil much better than Uruguay did. And I think the biggest difference between these two teams, both are going to be very physical. There's going to be a lot of fouls. There's going to be a lot of defensive transitions where people just hack each other down, expecting this game to be pretty ugly but entertaining in that way. I do think the difference maker is James Rodriguez. He's been the best player at this tournament. He's got 5 assists for Colombia. And he really is an international soccer cheat code because he doesn't play at the club level, at the elite level anymore. But he's got an incredible left foot. He gets time and space on the ball to pick out passes, to break open defenses. Uruguay doesn't quite have that. And I think that's the biggest difference here. I trust the Uruguay defense maybe a little more than Colombia, but I think Colombia's got the difference maker with James in his form right now. So I do expect Colombia to make the final. They were also my pre-tournament pick. So big day for me from futures perspective. And I think the Colombians are playing as well as anybody in this field.
Then we are rooting on Anthony DeBundo, that is for sure. Uruguay, a very slight favorite to advance to the final, but both have the same price right now at plus 340 behind Argentina to win the Copa America crown. Anthony, these are the odds to advance, just to win the game however it looks, in PKs, in extra time, so on and so forth, for either the European semifinal between England and the Netherlands or the late night game between Colombia and Uruguay. Do you have any 90-minute match bets, anything within the actual matches themselves, some best bets for this soccer semifinal Wednesday?
Yeah, so the total for yesterday's Euro match and today's are about the same. Both were 2. And I thought yesterday's was a little low. I think today's is a little high. I like under 2 at minus 107. I am not sure that this match is going to have a ton of tempo. We saw the Dutch barely press France, and they kind of sat off. And England is more than comfortable to have a lot of possession and do nothing with it, and more than comfortable to give the Dutch the ball and not really press them. So I think this could be a slower tempo, kind of more similar to a Portugal-France matchup. I'm not the most excited to watch this match if you're a neutral or a soccer casual, but I do think that until that first goal goes in, this game ends up very cagey, and that's under 2 is a little bit higher than I think it should be.
And from that future perspective, we wish you the best of luck. You know, Donnie Rightside will be there in your corner cheering on all of those bets on this semifinal Wednesday. Anthony DeBundo. Hey, what did we say, Donnie? Did you hear that?
What?
Orange.
What we got? What is that?
On orange. For the Dutch.
There we go. All right. Hey, look, I'm
Anthony
learning
DeBundo, we appreciate
here.
your soccer expertise that you are. And that's all we can ask. From the Ringer, Anthony joining us here today on this Wednesday. Anthony, thank you so much. More MLB breakdowns up next here on TEL.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The two at the top in the National League. It is game number 2 tonight in Philadelphia between the Phils and the Dodgers. The Fightins yesterday, 10 runs in a 10-1 victory over LA to open up what could potentially be a preview of the National League Championship Series. The Dodgers an underdog for just the 6th time this season yesterday. Now 2-4 straight up. The Dodgers an underdog once again. Gavin Stone gets the start for LA. Christopher Sanchez on the other side with the Phils a home favorite. What do you expect in game number 2 between the Phillies and the Dodgers?
Oh, this is going to be a good one here. And the reason I say that is the temperatures, again, if we already were previewing what was taking place in Baltimore, we had hot weather, humid weather, and the wind blowing out, almost identical in Philadelphia. 86 degrees at first pitch here, wind blowing dead center field at 15-plus miles per hour. Now, Christopher Sanchez is going to be on the mound. He's been nothing short of phenomenal on the season. Take a look at his ISO power number through 398 batters. That's an 070. Take a look at his weighted on base percentage. That's a 280. If we're lining up Christopher Sanchez over the past 60 days on this card today out of 31 pitchers, then he's number 2 on the card, a 74 xFIP minus, an ERA of 2.80, an xFIP of 2.96. That's incredible. But how about this for that Dodgers lineup that we anticipate? Shohei Ohtani, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Andy Pages, Vargas Rojas, Kike Hernandez, and Chris Taylor. Of those batters, the only guy that I don't like in that lineup is Kike Hernandez.
Yeah.
Everybody else, elevated ISO power numbers, elevated weighted on base percentage against left-handed pitching. So something has to give between Sanchez and that lineup for the Dodgers. Let's flip it over to the Philadelphia Phillies. The one thing we do know is they know how to hit the baseball at home at Citizens Bank Park, plating 10 runs yesterday. Gavin Stone is on the mound for this one. Trying to take a look at Gavin Stone here, 17th overall here, Ben, out of 31 pitchers today on the card with xFIP minus of 98, which is slightly above average. But also, how about this? A 2.67 ERA and a 3.93 xFIP, which is manageable here. So if I'm lining up the two lineups that we have, the total that we're seeing, this is a true hitting condition. Yesterday, we had 1 run out of the Dodgers. Even though Sanchez has been wonderful, I don't know if that's going to be the case again today. So just by default, I believe we're looking at runs because 2 good hitting lineups here against 2 good pitchers. Sometime the weather is just that ultimate equalizer. And also, Ben, it's not as if we're saying like, oh, the weather's really nice in Seattle in a true pitcher's ballpark. Excuse me. This is a great hitter's ballpark with unbelievable hitting conditions today. Maybe just lean on the over.
And Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber back in the fold. They were welcomed back yesterday. They didn't really add up to the 10 runs. Maybe they're more involved in the offense today. I do believe Schwarbaum had an RBI. Gavin Stone not great in his recent start last Wednesday against Arizona. Allowed 4 earned, and the Diamondbacks crushed the Dodgers 12-4. But in his previous 6, the Dodgers won all 6 of those games at the end, and Stone himself registered the win in 5 of the 6. But a quick break from baseball, Donnie. Some breaking news out of Team USA for our men's national team. Kawhi Leonard is withdrawing from Team USA for the Paris Olympics and will be replaced. Sources telling FanDuel TV's Shams Charania, Boston's Derek White is a strong candidate to replace Leonard on Team USA. This guy doesn't even want to play basketball ever. Kawhi Leonard, it seems, out of that Olympic roster for the United States.
Yeah, we'll see. We never get a true indicator of where Kawhi Leonard's health is at ever at any time. I mean, it wasn't too long ago where he tore his ACL and still listed it questionable for games and heading into the playoffs because nobody had any ideas. Who knows if he was injured at this point? But also, you're right on the cusp of playing an exhibition game heading towards the Olympics here and bowing out. I'm going to assume it wasn't because he just doesn't feel like playing. It might be that knee flaring up once again, but we'll never know.
Right. Yeah, we'll never know. We'll never truly hear what happened. You would assume it is injury. You would assume that Kawhi Leonard gave it a go during training camp and was just not fully healthy. But again, injuries continue to plague his career at the most significant level, whether it be playoff basketball in the NBA or here with Team USA. Again, Derek White from the champion Boston Celtics expected, as Sham said, to replace Kawhi Leonard. Why not just bring Cooper Flagg over from the short trip with the select team with Team USA and have him on the roster? Wow.
Yeah.
Now you might be on something.
You want headlines. You want ratings right now. You want to sell jerseys. Caitlin Clark on the men's team. Sign me up, BWS. Sign me up.
Make Donnie commissioner of USA basketball.
Done
Now
deal.
back to the baseball as we continue our breakdowns. The Braves have won 4 straight, including each of the opening 2 in Phoenix against the Diamondbacks. Uncle Chuck Charlie Morton on the bump today, and Atlanta a slight road favorite once again in Arizona. Will it be 5 wins in a row for the Braves?
It could be. I see that number of 9 here, and I take a look and I see these 2 pitchers. They can be hittable here, but they're right around average with their xFIP minus numbers. Charlie Morton is compared to Slade Ciccone. But here's what's interesting again, because what are you going to trust? The veteran pitcher in Charlie Morton over the past 30 days, a 175 ISO, which is right around average, a 311 weighted on base percentage, right around average. The reason I bring that up is if you flip it back on Arizona's lineup today, over the past 30 days against right-handed pitching, I don't know if there's a better lineup out there. Corbin Carroll, 164 ISO. Marte, 250. Peterson, 328. Walker, 410. Gurriel, 200. Moreno, 270. Suarez, 239. And Thomas, 333. This team is built. And I'm also not talking about, 10 to 15 at-bats. Most of these guys, 65-plus at-bats here. I believe they get it cranking against Charlie Morton. Now, also, you say to yourself, boy, you really don't want to take overs in Atlanta Braves games. I understand that. But Ciccone on the opposite side, not a great pitcher in any stretch on the season. 264 batters faced, been a 215 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 352. And again, as I said, I don't love that lineup, but we have some decent ISO power numbers against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days from Kelenic, Albies, Riley, Olsen, and Ozuna, and also Murphy here. I just think by case, I do think the bats will show up today for the Diamondbacks. Not sure if they win, but I think we might be able to get 10 runs in this game based on these 2 average pitchers in the lineups that might come to play.
Total is 9 out in downtown Phoenix. The Braves have the most unders this year, 53 in total. Yep. Atlanta, the only team in all of Major League Baseball that has played 60% or more of their games 2 and over. More than 62% of the games for the Atlanta Braves this year have hit the under. A lot of unders for Atlanta. A couple more baseball previews on the other side and a best bet for you on this Wednesday. That is still to come on the early line here on the Sports Grid Network. Join us after the break here on the early line.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn. Who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We now head out to San Diego, where the Mariners desperately needed a win yesterday, and the M's got it. They had dropped 9 of their last 13 before this midweek set began against the Padres. Today, it's an earlier start out on the West Coast, a little after 3:30 p.m. local time, 6:40 p.m. Eastern time here on the Eastern Seaboard. -138, the number in favor of San Diego. The Mariners now an underdog, the over-under 7.5. Will Seattle continue its winning ways in Southern California?
I don't know. It might be a bounce-back spot here for San Diego. So I do think the better pitcher on the mound yesterday, obviously, was with the Mariners, but I don't think that could be the case today. Bryce Miller on the mound today, a 97 xFIP minus, which isn't bad by any stretch. An ERA over the past 60 days, a little bit elevated at 4.67. He does have an average 3.98 xFIP number, but if we flip it over to the other side, my number 5 pitcher on the card today is Michael King, an 80 xFIP minus number of the past 60 days, a 3 ERA coupled with an xFIP number of 3.20. Also, when we take a look at Bryce Miller, he's been very good, Ben, against right-handed batters, but struggling against lefties. You take a look at that lineup today, a lefty in Arise, a lefty in Profar, a lefty in Cronenworth, also Merrill, and also Peralta. So I'm going to go ahead with the San Diego Padres in a bounce-back spot today. I think they have the better pitcher and the better lineup on their side. Therefore, I think they win.
The Pittsburgh Pirates played at 12 yesterday on the road against the Milwaukee Brewers. The Pirates fascinate me. They're 44-47. They're 3 games below 500 since the start of June. The Buccos have not been worse than 5 games below 500, but never better than 2 games below 500, hovering in mediocrity and slightly below. The Brew Crew, a $1.50 favorite at home today to even up this midweek set. Do you agree with the odds?
I'm taking a look here at maybe as a chance where the Pittsburgh Pirates get blown up a little bit with Martin Perez on the mound. Last 30 days here, a 182 ISO power number against lefty and righty batters combined, a weighted on base percentage of 375. But here's what's going to happen today. You're going to get an influx of right-handed bats in that lineup for the Brewers, and that's exactly where Martin Perez struggles. A 235 ISO and a 421 weighted on base percentage over his last 36 batters that he's facing. Also, he does have a last 60-day ERA of 7.23, which equates to an xFIP minus number of 116. We should get a victory today for the Brewers.
A ton of long balls yesterday for the Buccos. Brian Reynolds, he's an all-star. Jack Sawinski, the youngster, hit one deep. Rowdy Tellez, that's how you score 12 runs in Milwaukee. In the final game of 4 against the Pittsburgh Pirates in the extended weekend series, I thought Francisco Lindor would record an RBI. Didn't happen. He waited a day. He had 3 RBIs yesterday back at Citi Field in the opener against the Nats as the Mets won 7-5. And Brandon Nimmo, 6 RBIs in his last 3. He had 3 RBIs yesterday. Paces all of the Mets with 58 this year. The Mets at home once again today against the Nationals. What's the play?
Yeah, we'll keep it short here. That trifecta that we're going to talk about, the Baltimore weather, the Philadelphia weather, and now extension up there into the weather there for the New York Mets at home. 79 degrees at first pitch, 17-mile-an-hour winds blowing out the dead center field. 2 pitchers side by side with xFIP minus numbers today at a 111 and a 114. Both ERAs over the past 60 days approaching 5 here and high xFIP numbers. So we're looking at runs, just to keep it short, on this one up in Flushing.
Yeah, the Mets nearly a $2. No, it's in Flushing.
Mets, yeah.
You get it right.
Flushing. Yep.
Heart of New York City. Come on. Where else would it be, brother? Come on now. You know what it is. All right. So that is where things stand around Major League Baseball. A couple of doubleheaders today between the White Sox and the Twins, the Cardinals and the Royals. In the Show Me State Showdown, the interleague affair, we've got 5 games in the WNBA. A ton to choose from here with some semifinals on the pitch as well. So before we say farewell and goodbye, it's time for a Wednesday Best Bet. It is time for Bye, Bye, Bye. DRS, what is your best of all the bets on this Wednesday?
So there's only one place to go. We're going back to Fenway. 80-degree temperatures, wind blowing out to left field yesterday. You saw the bats on display on both sides. We're going to pick out Tyler O'Neill, the right-handed power-hitting left fielder for Boston. His last 29 at-bats against left-handed pitching, a 423 ISO and a 530 weighted on base percentage. Sears is a left-handed pitcher who can't get right-handed batters out. We're going to do the simple route here. Not get greedy, just to get an RBI, -110 for Tyler O'Neill. He gets the job done tonight.
The Red Sox are 10 games above 500. At Fenway, DRS, that's where I'm going to be this weekend on Saturday, my first ever game at Fenway Park. I cannot wait for it. 5 games in the WNBA. Let's go to the first one that tips in about 30 seconds. That's in Connecticut, the Sun and the Liberty. Love the over of 158. Maybe even lay the 7 today with Indiana at home against the Washington Mystics. He's Donnie Rightside. I'm Ben Stevens. We'll talk to you tomorrow, a Thursday on the early line. It starts at 8 a.m. Eastern here on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's bet